Good afternoon, boys and girls and ladies and gents. Today we are going to go through a paper that I've given you on Friday for your mock or your exam practice paper. Well, it's a paper 2, so this paper counts out of 70 marks. Okay, so I'm quickly going to read the question and then see how fast we can go through this paper. Okay, so this is a table and it's shown some results given of daily temperatures for the half a week, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then they ask us by how many degrees did the maximum temperature change between Thursday and Friday. So I have Thursday here, that was 2.5 degrees Celsius, and I had Friday that was negative 1.5 degrees Celsius. So we want to find what is this change of temperatures between those 2 points. And then obviously this is 1.5 and that is 2.5. If I add 1.5 and 2.5 to one another, I should get 4 degrees. Okay, so thus the answer should be 4 degrees Celsius. Good, so the second question in this part, or second part of this question is, what is the difference between the greatest and the least of these temperatures? The greatest and the least. So the least, and for my information, was 1.5, negative 1.5 degrees. And then the greatest was 3 degrees. So the difference between them would be 3 plus 1.5, that would give me 4.5 degrees Celsius. Good, so that's done with question 1. Let's go on with question 2. Now, Nelly paid $62 for a bicycle. She later sold the bicycle for $46. What was her percentage loss? So I know that percentage change or loss or gain, they're all the same, would be equal to the new minus my old over the old times 100. Now, my new price is the price that she sold it later for. So that would be the $46 minus the 62 over the 46 times 100. We can do the calculation and that should give us $25.80. Oh, sorry, percentage. Okay, percentage. Okay. Good, so now the third question is, we have a set of 3 sets, A, B, and K, are such that A is a subset of K, B is a subset of K, and A and B, the intersection between A and B is an empty set. Draw a Venn diagram to show this information. Good, so I'm going to start off with a Venn diagram. It will be a universal set. Okay, and good, so now we need to look at that. K, A is a subset of K and B is a subset of K, but the two of them have a zero or an empty intersection. So let's do that. A, do that for K. Okay, so A is there, B is there, but it's an empty set within. I can just maybe do those little round, not a square. Okay, good, so that is question 3. Alejandro goes to Europe for a holiday. He changes 500 pesos into euros at an exchange rate of €1 per 0.975 pesos. So €1, 0.9775 pesos. Okay, so that must be a 7. Okay, how much does he receive in euros? So we know that he starts off with euros. So he starts off with pesos. So let me just move my paper up a bit. 500 pesos. We want pesos and pesos to cancel out, so this will become over 1. And I will use this unit converter just as they've given me. So 1 euro, 0.975 pesos. Pesos and pesos will cancel out. And if I do the calculation, I just tap it onto my calculator, it would give me 512.8205. I've got to be careful here because they asked me, give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. So 2 decimal places. This 0 will not change the value, thus it would be 512.82, and that's my answer. Good. The next one is ordered from the smallest to the largest. Here we use our calculators. I am going to just tap this into the calculator, press my SD key, this little key over here. I'm going to press that so that I get the answer in terms of in a decimal value. So this would be 0.001. Do that one, 0.011, 0.0011, and 0.0108. Okay, now I've got to order it. That would be the first one, that's the smallest. Then number 2, number 3, number 4. Now for the answer, I write the original value down. So 1 over 1,000. Number 2 is 0.11%. Number 3 is 0.0108. And number 4 is 11 over 1,000. Good, so that was question 5. Let's move on to question 6. Quickly page here, read the question out loud for you. Okay, write the following expression as a single fraction. Okay, there I've got a denominator of 1. So I need to multiply this fraction with that denominator, 5 minus x. If I do it in the denominator, I must also do it in the numerator. Good, so that as a single fraction, so 5 minus x. I can distribute here, so 2 times 5 would give me 10x minus 2x squared, negative 10x. And now just simplify it. So 10x minus 10x would give me 0, so negative 2x squared and 5 minus x. I cannot cancel anything out and I have to leave the answer as it is. Good. The next question says, find the exact value of the following. I know that if I have a to the power negative m, that would mean the same thing as 1 over a to the power m. Thus, we can say it would be 1 over 3 squared. That would give me 1 over 9, and that's my answer. Okay. The following question, we simplify. We must first rewrite this mixed number as an improper fraction, and I'll quickly do that. I'm just showing you on my calculator. On it's the shift and that button, so it's 1 and 7 over 9. That would give me 16 over 9. So it's 16 over 9 and it's to the half power. I know that if I have a to the half power, that would be the square root of a. Therefore, I can say it is the square root of 16 over 9. That's the same thing as the square root 16 over the square root of 9. That is the same thing as 4 over 3. Now, you may use your calculator. I'm just showing how it works so that you know what to do. Okay, so the next one, question 8 says the length of a road is 380 meters, correct to the nearest 10 meters. Maria runs at a speed of 3.9 meters per second, correct to 1 decimal place. Okay, so 380. This question requires an upper bound, and a lower bound for each of those values, because it says correct to the nearest 10 meters and this one correct to 1 decimal place. So the upper bound would be 385. My lower bound here would be 375. For 3.9 it would be upper bound 3.95 and my lower bound as 3.85, my speed. So this distance, that is speed. Okay, calculate the time. We know that speed times time equals distance. Speed is what we have there. We want the, let's look at, we'll calculate the greatest possible amount of time. So let's just solve for time. Time would be distance over speed. I want the greatest distance and the smallest possible speed. So time would be 385 divided by 3.85, and that should give us 100 seconds. Okay, so first of all, before we do any calculations, you have to find the upper bound and the lower bound of it, and then do the calculation. Okay, for the numbers 8, 3, 5, 8, 7, 8, find the mode. I know that I've got to order those numbers before I do anything else. So 3, 5, 7, 8, 8, 8. Mode is most frequent. And I can see that it's 8 because there's 3 8s. Median I know is a half n plus 1. It would be a half 6 plus 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. That would give me the 3 and 1/2 number, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so 7 plus 8, 7 plus 8, divide by 2, that would give me 7.5. So my median would be 7.5. Mean is the sum of the numbers divided by the number of numbers. So that would give me 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8 plus 8, all another 8, okay, all over the 6. And if you do the calculation, you should get 6.5. Good, so that was question 10. Okay, the radius of Earth at the equator. So there's the Earth, and I've cut the Earth into a little segment. The radius there is 6.4 times 10 to the power 4 meters. Calculate the circumference of the equator, giving an answer in standard form correct to 2 significant figures. Okay, so I know the circumference of a circle is pi radius squared. That's not right. That's not right. That's not good. Okay, the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. I don't know where I got that from, but 2 pi, and my radius there is, it just times, I'm just going to squash it in there, 6.4 times 10 to the power 4, and then if I do that calculation, I should get the circumference of the circle as 4.02 times 10 to the power 7. And let me just move my paper up so that you can see what I've written there. And there you go. Okay, good. So let's go on to the next question. Okay, if I say here in the diagram, we have a hexagon with A, B, C, D, E, F. BC is parallel to ED, okay, and DC is parallel to EF. Now they give us some stuff. They say that angle DEF is 109 degrees, angle EFA is 95 degrees, and angle FAB is equal, angle FAB, this angle over there is equal to angle ABC that angle over there. Okay, now they ask us to find angle EDC. EDC. We want to find what is that one. Okay, I've got two parallel lines. There's a parallel line, and a transversal that cuts it. I know that if I have that two parallel lines and a transversal that cuts it, the co-interior angles, or was it called co-interior? I could be wrong there. But the angles on the same side of a transversal will add up to 180 degrees. So we have 109 plus angle D would give us 180. If I do the calculation there, I get 71. Okay, the next one is angle FAB. Angle FAB, okay. We know that these two will add up to 180 degrees. Because it's also two parallel lines and a transversal that cuts it, so the angles on the same side of a transversal will add up to 180 degrees, and that one should then be 109 degrees. Okay, now we are only sitting with these two, and we can call them y and y, and if I add them up, I should get the sum of the interior angles of this polygon. Not polygon, hexagon. So it is a polygon in any case. So we have to find what is the sum of the interior angles. So I'm just going to write here the sum of the interior angles would be n of 180, n minus 2, 180, n, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. That should give us 720 degrees, quite a large number. Okay, so the sum of the interior angles would give me 720, so 720 equals 109 plus 95 plus the y plus 109 plus the 71. Then I will get 2y here. If I simplify that, it would give me 336. Divide by 2 on both sides, so 168 degrees. Sorry about that. There you go. Just moved off the screen while I was happily going along. Okay, next question. Question 13. We have a speed times graph, and they say many cycles at 4 meters per second. So they cycles at 4 meters per second. After 3.5 seconds, so the time is 3.5 seconds, she started to decelerate for a further 2.5 seconds, and then she stops. Calculate the constant deceleration. Okay, so we know that the deceleration, okay, would be the gradient in a speed times graph. So it would be m, and m we know is delta y over delta x. I can just find those values there. That would be 3.5 and 4, and that one would be 6 and 0. Okay, now to find m, we just do substitute those values into the equation. So 6 minus 4, 0 minus 4, and we will get negative a half. So my deceleration would be a half meters per second squared. Okay. Why don't I include the negative there? Because it's already said deceleration. Good. So the next question says, find the total distance traveled for this during the first 6 seconds. So I'm just going to use this graph again. The total distance for a speed time graph, because we have speed times time equals distance. Speed times time, that would give me the area under the curve. So I know this is a rectangle, so we will have length times width, and this is a triangle, so we will have half length times width. Okay, so that would give us a distance. So length times width equals plus a half length times the width. and my length would be, where did I write there? Okay, just get the length there. That is 3.5 times 4 the width plus a half, 2.5 times 4, and I do the calculation and I get 19 meters. Okay, good. So let's move on to the next one. We're nearly done. Just keep going, guys. You can make it. Turn the page here to read the question. Now they say PQRS is a cyclic quadrilateral, and the diagonals PR and QS intersect at X. Okay, angle SPR is 21 degrees, and angle PRS is 80 degrees, and angle PXQ is 33 degrees. Okay, now they ask us the first question. They said calculate PQS. So angle PQS. Now if I look at that, angle PQS, I have to, first of all, this is 33 degrees. I've got to look at that. This arc subtends both those angles, so this one would be also 21 degrees. Okay, that would also give me 33 degrees. That arc subtends 80. So this angle over here, PQS, must also be 80, because it subtends, this one subtends 80 degrees, therefore it will also subtend 80 degrees. Okay, so my answer is 80 degrees. The next question, question B, asks us to find angle QPR. QPR, it's this little one there, and we know the interior angles of a triangle add up to 180, so we will have a little dot, plus 33 plus 80 must give me us 180 degrees, and we can solve it there. So let's call this P1. It's a little bit better. P1 would be 67 degrees. Okay, then they are asking us 67, I'm just writing it in there. Angle PSQ, okay, PSQ, we have all the interior angles except that little S there, so we know that it would be angle P1 plus P2 plus Q plus S must add up to 180 degrees. That would give me 67 plus 21 plus 80 plus S is 180. I solve for S and I should get S as 12 degrees. Okay, good. Next question, solve simultaneously. Now let's have a look. There's different ways to solve this question. I'm looking at, I just thought, well, look at that. That's 4x and that's 8x. I could do it a little differently, looking that's 5x, so that's 15. Maybe if I multiply this whole equation by 3, then I can add those two equations to one another and get rid of a y. So that would give me 12x plus 15y equals 0, and 8x minus 15y equals 5. I add those two expressions together. That would give me 20x equals 5. So x would be 1/4. Okay. Now to solve that, I will just substitute that into one of the original expressions. So 4² plus 5y equals 0. So that would give us 1. So 5y equals -1, and y would be -1/5. And that is my answer for question 15. Okay, question 17 Okay, I'm skipping question 16 for the second. Question 17 says, on the grid, draw the following lines. X equals 1, y equals 2, and x plus y equals 5. This have to be in the form y equals mx plus c, so that we can read it more carefully. So that would give us y equals negative x plus 5. X equals 1 is a straight line. Let me just get my straight edge here. That would give me a line that looks like that. X equals 1. Okay. Y equals 2 is a straight line that will pass through like that. Y equals 2. Okay, sorry, that's a little bit skew there. And this line is, it will pass the y-axis at 5. I know that the gradient is negative 1, so it will pass also the x-axis at 5. And there we go. And that is the line x plus y equals 5. Okay, now for the next part of the question, that would give me a total value of 3 marks. For the next part, they say write R in the region where the following is true. So x must be greater or equal to 1. I'm selecting a point that is not on the code, not on one of those values. I'm selecting the point 2 and 1. Now I substitute it in. 2 is greater or equal to 1. Is that true? Yes, it is true. So from this line, that part would be part of my solution set. I'm just going to shade the other side. Okay. The next one we have 1 is greater or equal to 2. Is that the truth? Also, it is that is not true. Okay. Sorry, where am I? Yeah. 1 is not greater or equal to 1, so this is not part of a solution set. And I'm going to shade that. Okay. Then they ask us x plus y is greater or equal to 5. So 2 plus 1, is that the truth? No, it is not. It is not part of my solution set. Therefore, this will be, and that region will be R. Okay, good. So question 18, moving along at a nice pace. Okay, find by using accurate constructions for the region inside the circle which contains the points more than 5 centimeters from G and nearer to H than to G. Okay, I hope I've got my little set here. Just grab it out. Okay, 5 centimeters. So let's check on my okay. So 5 centimeters from G, it's more than 5 centimeters. Just going to draw that arc. So it must be more than 5 centimeters away from G, and it must be closer to or nearer to H than to G. So I'm just going to use this, and first of all, let's just do that. Okay. I want to bisect that line segment so that I can go. Okay, and inside. Okay, there we go. So we have that already done, and now they just ask us to shade the region by constructing shade this region that is further away from 5 centimeters from G, that is nearer to H than it is to G. So that part of my circle must be shaded. Okay, that's question 18 done. Let's have a look at question 19. Let's say solve the inequality. So if I have an inequality, I just have to move all my terms on the one side, all my x's, and all the constants over to the other side. So we will have negative 2 over 3x, negative 1/4 x is greater than negative 5 positive a half. I can simplify that as negative 11 over 12x is greater than negative 9 over 2. Divide by negative 11 over 12 on both sides, so x would be smaller than 54 over 11. Okay. Good, now if I say list the positive integers, okay, which satisfy this inequality. So if I press the SD key there, so x would be smaller than 4 and 10 over 11, I know that an integer is a whole number and it must be positive number, so it's just 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are sitting here on the number line at 4 and 10 over 11. We only are interested in the integer values, so my values would be 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, good, we're nearly done. A little bit more, 2 questions to go, or 3 questions to go. So they gave us fx equals 2x minus 1 and gx is x squared negative 1. We want to find the inverse of this expression. 2-step plan. So I first have to write y equals 2x minus 1. Solve for x, y plus 1 equals 2x. So x would be y plus 1 over 2. Now I flip the x and y values around and write y inverse. So if inverse, that's the same as x, y is x plus 1 over 2. And we are done with that question. So the second part is they ask us to substitute fx into my gx function. It's a composite function. So I start off with gx, that is x squared minus 1. Where there's an x, I substitute f into that slot. That would give me negative 1. And what is fx? It is 2x minus 1. And that one was squared. And I simplify that because they said in simplest forms. So 4x squared negative 4x plus 1 minus 1. 4x squared minus 4x. Just move my paper up and there we go. Good. The next one is find the inverse of a 2 by 2 matrix. Find the 2 by 2 matrix such that A plus B would give us 0, 0. So A is 2, negative 1, 1, 1 plus P, that we can just call A, B, C, D, would give me 0, 0, 0, 0. And we know that by matrix multiplication, I can just add the each of those together. So we'll make 4 little equations. 2 plus A equals 0. Negative 1 plus B equals 0. 1 plus C equals 0. And 1 plus D equals 0. Solve for that. So A would be negative 2. B would be 1. C would be negative 1. D would be negative 1. So that matrix P would be negative 2, 1, negative 1, negative 1. Okay, and that's my answer over there. Okay, so the 2 by 2 matrix Q such that AG or AQ equals 1, 0, 0, 1. Just get a clean sheet of paper here. There you go. So it's a 2 by 2 matrix. It means matrix multiplication. So 2, negative 1, 1, 1. And we multiply it with A, B, C, D. And the result should give us 1, 0, 0, 1. That's the unit matrix. So what is the matrix Q? Let's do the matrix multiplication there. So 2 times A plus negative 1 times C. And 2 times B plus negative 1 times D. And then this one, 1 times A plus 1 times C, 1 times B plus 1 times D. Okay, this resultant would be equal to 1. So 2a minus c would be equal to 1. Okay, and then if I substitute that would give me 2b. Oh, let me just look at this. This is also with terms of a's and c's. So let's do that one first. A plus c equals 0. So I can see here that c would be equal to a, and substitute that it therein. So 2a minus a would be 1. So a would be 1. Okay, are we ready there? Did I do it correctly? No, I didn't. What did I do wrong here? Let me quickly check. 2a minus, there you go, negative. Okay, so that would give me 3, and then a would be a third. Okay, good. So there is a nearly. And then because that is a third, a equals a third, c would be negative a third. Okay, now let's look at those two. So we'll have 2b minus d equals 0, and we have b plus d equals 1. So d was my negative b. So yeah, 2b 2b plus, because d is negative b, so it's negative b equals, and the answer there must be equal to 0. Okay, so no, where are we now? 2b. I'm just quickly checking it out. What did I do here? So that I substitute that into this expression over there. Maybe do it 2b equals d. Okay, so let's do that rather, because this is not right. Okay, sorry. Let me quickly check that out. So 2b equals d. Then I substitute that into it. So b plus 2d equals 1. So 2b equals 1. So b must be a third as well. Okay, and then if b is a third, I know that 2b's would be equal to d. So d would be equal to 2/3. And I am running out of space there. Where is my other question paper? Okay, let's just write down our Q. So Q would be A is a third. Where's my B? B is a third. C is negative a third. D is 2/3. I can actually factor out a third. So a third will come in there, 1, 1, negative 1, and 2. And that would be the matrix Q. Okay, good. But I think this would also be an acceptable answer. According to me, that's a good answer. Okay, let's quickly have a look at the next one. Question 22. Question 22 is the last question. It relies on a little bit of information that you have to know some rules. Okay, so in the circle O, okay, with a center O, so this is important, it's from a center. The chords KL and PQ are each a length of 8 centimeters. Now, if they are both 8 centimeters, it means that they will form the same angle here at the center of a circle. Okay, but they also states that the point M is the midpoint of KL, so that would be equal to a length. And the point S, the R, is the midpoint of PQ, so those two would be equal. Now, if you drew a radius from the center of a circle to the midpoint of a chord, that would give you a 90-degree angle. Okay, it will also mean that those two radiuses, because both those chords are 8 centimeters, would be equal in length. Now, let's look at the first bit. They say calculate the length of OK. Okay, we know that this is 8 centimeters. If I cut it in half, that would give me as a resultant of 4. And this is 90 degrees, so we have a very nice little triangle to solve. Pythagorean identity. That one is 4, that one is 3. We want OK, and we say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared, and c must be equal to 5. Okay, substitute that in there. That would be equal to 5. Good. Now we have to look at the next question, and they ask us Rm has the length of 5.5 centimeters. Calculate the angle ROM. ROM. I want to find that angle over there. Now I know that that one is 3, that one is 3, that one is 5.5. I can use my cosine rule. So a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. 5.5 squared equals 3 squared plus 3 squared minus 3 cos a. And now I just have to simplify and find a. So just do that quickly. Okay, divide by negative 18 on both sides. Find the inverse of a function. So cos inverse of 49, negative 49 over 72 equals a, and a would be 152.9 degrees, and that's the end of this paper. Okay, good, ladies and gents, it was fun doing it with you. Now it is it's the time to pause, do these questions again. I hope you have fun. See you next Friday for exam practice. Okay, goodbye.